only poem of mine that has ever been published. It was published in my high school yearbook. I'm not going to give you the date because then you'll know how old I really am.
They didn't have dates back then.
Thanks. It was all I could do to keep from laughing at him as he conducted with his piece of straw standing on his rock. The wind blew through the trees and left its tune on the leaves. The vibrations of the grass produced a soundless tune that only the ground could feel. The rock shook out a mighty sound that drowned out the meek whisperings of the flowers. It was a peculiar sight to watch him command the dynamics as the rain fell around him, bringing forth a new sound. And it stopped, just as it had started. He felt my presence, and soon it was as it had always been for me before, this soundless laughter of the wind, mocking me because I no longer could feel the music. I kind of have a bit of a mix of some things that some of you somewhere else have heard, and some new stuff. And some of mine also don't have titles, and so this is a new untitled one. The words disappear from the radar screen, lost somewhere offshore, crash landing in the ocean, sinking to the bottom of my unconscious thought, turning into new meanings and uses. I hardly recognize the words anymore. Learning a new language so I can talk about myself. Not all speak the new language. I cannot be heard or understood. Yet I persist until there is no more communication, and I can then learn to talk. This one does have a title. It's called Great Expectations, and I apologize to Charles Dickens and to any of you who have read or seen the movie Great Expectations.
As long as it's not as dry as the book.
This has nothing to do with Charles Dickens. I had expectations of you. I expected you to tell me what I should do to please you. Then I could look after you. And I expected you to know all about me, even the things I never said. I expected you to make me feel better about myself. Then you could look after me. I expected you to fill up all the empty spaces in me. Then I would feel worthwhile because of you. I expected you to be the answer to me. Then I would have no more questions. I expected you to look after my feelings. Then you wouldn't hurt me. I expected you to define me. Then I would be somebody with you instead of nobody without you. I expected you to fix everything for me. Then I would be better because of you. I expected you to make me a better person. Then I would depend on you. I expected you to know what I was thinking, even if I didn't say it. I expected you to make the sun shine for me and to be responsible for all those dark clouds. I expected you to stay the same, that I wouldn't have to keep getting to know you again and again. I expected we would have to change each other and change ourselves so that we would fit better together. I expected you to save me from my stupid, shitty life so I wouldn't be lonely and alone. That is what I expected. Woo! Okay, Chris, you will remember this poem from Tubby Dog. It's What Women Want in a Man. And if you're really paying attention, you might want to take notes, because this is very important stuff. Chris, thank you, because I don't know if Chris got it the last time, so there you go. Okay, what women want in a man? Well, first, we must consider who the woman is. Is she educated, beautiful, young, old, a widow, hungry? And also what kind of background she came from. Was it abusive, loving? Did she have a voice? Did she think she was worth it? Or maybe she was born into poverty or sold into slavery. A smart woman wants a stupid man so she can lord it over him and prove her worth. She might, on the other hand, want a smart man so they can have intelligent, unfeeling conversations. A beautiful woman wants a beautiful man so she looks good and feels worthwhile. Or maybe she wants an ugly man so she can be the beautiful one and feel more worthwhile. Either way, they still might not have beautiful children. A young woman wants a young, virile man so they can grow old together. Or maybe she wants an old man, or at least an older man, to look after her, show her how to live, make her worth something. An old woman wants a young, virile man so she can feel alive again and feel that she is still worth something to somebody. On the other hand, she might want an old man just for companionship, to keep loneliness at bay. A widow wants a widower or a divorced man, somebody with experience, not a greenhorn. Or maybe she wants nobody because she doesn't want to go through all that again. A hungry woman wants a man to look after her, somebody to feed her hunger, not knowing what kind of hunger she has, physical, spiritual, emotional. Or maybe she wants a man she can look after because that's her role. A woman who has been abused may want an abuser because that's the only way she can feel worthwhile. Or she might try to break out of the cycle and look for something different. A woman who has experienced love wants a man to love her because then she will be worth something. Or maybe she wants somebody to fight with because she doesn't know love without fighting. A woman who has been silent all her life wants a man who talks because she cannot. Or she might want a man who is also silent because that's the only way she can live. A woman who didn't know she was worthwhile wants a man to tell her she is. Or she might want a man to tell her she isn't. A woman born into poverty wants a rich man to give her all she needs and wants. Or maybe she wants a poor man because she knows poor and would rather have love. A woman sold into slavery wants a man to free her, to be her savior. Or she might want a man to own her every movement, every thought, every aspect of her being, because it's safer than being out in the world. And besides, that's what she was promised in the fairy tales. So, that is what a woman wants in a man. So I have two left, and they're connected in a way. I'm going to read the first one, and it's sort of where I started with this idea. So it's kind of the first little poem I wrote about it, and then a little while later I wrote the second one, and it's, well, the first one, but very, very, very different. So it's called In the End. Feeling strangely disconnected this day. You have been gone for so long now that I hardly remember what you might have looked like. I hardly know how to feel sorry for you, that you didn't know how to live, that you didn't know how to love me or anybody else. I hardly know how to hate you, not anymore at least. In the end, you gave me something that I never had before, though you never meant to give me anything in the end. In the end, you get nothing, at least nothing that I know about from this side. And in the end, I get me.